welcome to Information Please, your Peoria Public Library on the air, bringing you information about your library and your community. This evening, my guest is Nina Burbank, Nina, from Peoria Public Library, who has been a librarian, children's librarian, for about 24, 25 years. So, quarter century of experience here. And we're going to do a two-part special on reading to children, what you should be reading now and why you should be reading. Thank you, Nina. Sure. Sorry I got tongue-tied.
That's
I know
all right.
your name, I really do. But I'm so glad that you could take time out, because I know you do so many of our story times for our little tiny ones, which sometimes people say, oh, why do you take those little tiny ones to a story time? But we're going to talk a lot about that today, and for people who may not understand what's so important about that. So what can we say to parents about why it's so important to read from even in utero before they're born? What's important about reading?
Reading is a way for children to learn our language. They learn the cadence, they learn the rhythm first, and then after that they can start picking it up. They say that children, babies, know every syllable, and they narrow it down by what they hear. So we're getting them ready for languages.
Okay.
And they start making those connections in their brains. This goes with this goes with this sound means this sound means that. And so when you read to your child, you're starting to build those connections. You're starting to narrow that down to our language, or any language that a parent uses. Could be 2 languages, 3 languages, whatever.
Right.
But you're helping them get there. Okay.
And I know that they say babies before they're born can hear your voice, and a lot of parents will read a particular story and then find that after the child is born, hearing that is very calming. Same thing with music.
Yeah.
It's very calming to hear that. So it's kind of a tip for new parents, but you actually do a story time for the teeny tiny ones.
Yeah, I do. Basically, it's for the parents.
Yeah.
Just to give them some ideas of things that they can do. We do songs, we do rhymes, nursery rhymes, other rhymes. We do a couple of books, just to show them what kind of books. So that one, for that little one, they're not always paying attention. In fact, sometimes they're sleeping through my entire story time. But the parents get an idea of what they can do, what they can use, that kind of thing.
What kind of resources are available to them, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. This is another one of those things where babies don't require a lot of money. What they require is your time and attention.
Right. They don't even care how you sound when you sing.
Yeah, and with the library, of course, you have untold resources. And we constantly get new books and new materials and things that are well researched, and award-winning books and books on every subject. And so any parent should be able to find something they find attractive.
Right, yeah. And there's plenty of stuff. And if they need any help, there's usually somebody there that they can talk to, ask a question that can help them find what they need.
For people who don't understand what librarians know, you all go to school. You have a master's degree, I believe.
Right.
When you go to get a master's degree in library science, what sort of things are you taught, or do you study about reading?
We all get
books?
basic stuff, basic what reference, how to do a reference interview, which probably nobody knows what that's about. But anyway.
Which the reference, I want to define that, because the librarians always say reference questions, reference librarians, and I think most people don't know what you mean. But what you mean is just somebody has a question about something, and you're going to help them find the answer.
You're going to help them find what their question is.
Okay. Okay.
Some people don't even know what their question is.
Right.
They give you a question, but it's not really what they want. And that's what the reference interview, which you may have heard or not heard of, is about. It's about drawing that real question out. Someone may come up and say that they want a book on religion, but what they really want is something else entirely. And when you start asking them questions, well, what kind of religion or whatever, you start drawing out what they really want. Because some people don't actually know exactly what they want. They kind of have this little kernel in their head, and then, here it is. Okay, now this is what you wanted. So.
And sometimes that's students in school doing a research paper, but more often it's just somebody going about their daily life, and they need to know a piece of information. Perhaps they're going to meet someone from another culture or attend a wedding or plan a wedding. And so you can get some really kind of what seem like off-the-wall questions when you finally get down to what they want. But that's okay, because our staff is ready to answer those no matter what.
We've been trained. We've been trained.
You've been trained. You've been trained to deal with that. Okay. But what do they teach you about how to find books for children?
Okay, well, I took innumerable classes on children's literature and storytelling and making programs. So they teach us what's good, what's bad. So, we go out and we look at it. They say, look at it this way. What are the characters like? What's the plot like? Do the pictures relate to the story? That kind of thing. You're basically critiquing books and finding the good ones. So that's what they teach us, that technique.
Okay. What books are going to matter? All right. So, and I think maybe you have some books to share with us.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we should start on that. And remind people that this is going to be a two-part series, and we're going to talk a lot about why reading is important and what it can do for you, but we're going to show you some of the best new books stuff, too.
Well, this is one that really intrigued me. This is called We Rhymes, Baby's First Poetry Book.
Aww.
And it's by Jane Yolen, who, I don't know if you've gotten into any kind of children's books at all. Jane Yolen's been around forever, and I think she must have written like hundreds of books. I don't know. I may be exaggerating, but we'll go with it. But it's got some beautiful pictures. It's got some rhymes that you may be familiar with and some that you aren't familiar with. But it's all stuff that relates to children. You'll see that this is about dressing. This is about a special blankie. So this is about a dolly and a teddy. So it's all things that kids can relate to, and it's a good one for parents to start out with rhymes, rhythms, and introducing your baby to language and poetry.
I'm just going to read this one. Rattles, drums, and bells. Play with the rattle. Shake, shake, shake. Not so hard that it could break. Beat on the drum. Boom, boom, boom. A sound that fills the living room. Clang the bells. Ding, dang, dong. Now we're playing a happy song. So that's just the kind of thing that kids love to hear, and you could read it again, read it again, read it again.
And it's good for them, too, to hear it over and over and over. Give them an opportunity to, get to know our language a little bit better.
An author like this obviously knows what the vocabulary can be, how much a child can understand, and how much you want to push them beyond, what they might already know, and the borders of where their language are, and let it grow a little. Okay, We Rhymes. Okay. All
right. The next book I want to talk about is also for younger children.
Okay.
And it's by, I don't know, I'm in awe of this woman, okay? It's called Busy, Busy Little Chick. It's by Janice Harrington, and she is a local author.
Oh,
and
okay.
She was, for the longest time, she was a children's librarian in Urbana and then in Champaign Public Libraries. She is now, I believe, at the University of Illinois as one of the professors. And she keeps putting out these lovely picture books. And this one is also illustrated by a fairly well-known illustrator, Brian Pinckney of the Pinckney family. I mean, anybody who's... Anyway,
no,
I'm excited.
Really excited. We should just remember that name is what you're telling us, Janice Harrington. And we've had Janice Harrington at Peoria Public Library.
Oh, we have.
Before our big remodeling project, I know that she came and talked. So
she's wonderful. She did storytelling for a while and a lot of workshops. I have been to her workshop. You do not sit on the chair at her workshop. You get up and you do exercises and you break down in groups and you're just really involved in it. It's really interactive. So it's a lot of fun. Hers are the most popular workshops that you can go to at a conference or whatever. They're really, really exciting. This particular book, though, Busy, Busy Little Chick, is based on a Central African folktale.
Okay.
So, which is something she likes to do. She likes to, some of her other books like Going North, which was based on some historical things about people going from the South up into, I believe it was Kansas, to find a better life, African Americans. This one is so much fun. It's about a family, a hen and her little chicks, and how they need a new place. But they say, oh, we'll build it tomorrow. We'll build it tomorrow. And each time tomorrow comes, they're busy eating and everything. Except for the little chick decides he's tired of having the faulty nest.
Yeah.
And so instead of eating, he builds it, and he does it by himself, and he eventually builds the new home for them.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really sweet story about, sticking to it and, what's important and that kind of thing. So
yeah, and not getting distracted.
yes, which I'm afraid I do that sometimes. Anyway, but this is a really, really nice one. And like I said, local author.
Yeah.
So very nice. The next one I want to talk about is called Nora's Chicks.
Oh,
And
it's a time of year for chicks.
Yes, it's kind of a spring theme here going. This is by Patricia McLaughlin, who is most well known for her Newbery winner, which was Sarah Plain and Tall.
Okay.
She has written books for little ones like this, preschool ones, picture books. She's also written the chapter books. So she's done a lot of different age groups.
Okay.
And this one's very sweet. This is about a young Russian girl who moves to America. She misses the hills. She misses her old home. She doesn't have any friends because they live out in the country. There's hardly any people out there. There's a girl on the next farm, but she's miles away, and she wants somebody to be her friend. And her father brings home some chicks and some geese for their farm, and she takes them over. These are her new friends. She names every single one of them.
Okay.
One day she loses one, and she's frantic. And the little girl next door has found that chick and brings it in, and it shows how we can make new friends.
Oh, okay.
So it's all about friendship and getting along and adapting.
Okay, and new people from new places.
Right. So it's just a very nice, sweet story of that. The next one I want to talk about, I also want to show, because this is called One Gorilla, a Counting Book by Anthony Brown. And Anthony Brown has been around for a while. He's a British author. Okay. He has amazing artwork. Sometimes it's goofy. This one is just wonderful. The artwork is like very painterly. It's very, you'll see as we go through, I'm going to skip a few pages here so we get to some more. You'll see that each one of these, although you can tell they're the same breed, they start having a lot of personality. You can see these are very smiley ones. This one's kind of smirky. This one's very bland. This one's kind of looking over the side. He put a lot of personality into each of his
animals.
Yes, here. The gibbons. I mean, there's some silly looks. Look at this guy over here. He's very grumpy, whereas this guy over here is very smiley. So you've got a lot of personality going. And as he gets up here, you're thinking, well, how is he going to do that? But he's got a lot of, even with the same coloring, he's got a lot of things going on with them. And this one's one of my favorite right here, with the little guy looking like he's going to be into mischief. And this guy watching him. So this is a really good example of something, it's a counting book, but it's also, and of course, there's
basic biology.
Right. This is the author. He did a portrait of himself as a primate. And then all the different primates that we are.
Okay.
So it's kind of a really nice counting book, but also very bright pictures, very realistic, actually.
Yeah. Well, and you can teach more than just counting. You can teach the counting, but you can teach, about for before or after you've been to the zoo to see what we have in Peoria and talk about it, but also talk about human beings around the world and primates around the world and what we have that's similar and what's different from each species. So great. This is the kind of book that goes much farther than just 1 to 10. So.
Yeah. I think that that can be used for a lot of different purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one I want to talk about is another picture book. This is just a silly one, this ribbit on this side over here. It's about a pig that winds up in a frog pond causing a big stir. What does he want? Why is he there? The frogs are all in uproar, trying to get rid of him. Why, Well, it turns out the pig just wants to be friends.
Oh, okay.
So it's a misunderstanding.
Okay.
But it's all about not judging and not jumping to conclusions because somebody's different.
Yeah.
Jasper and Roop, I had to bring that one. I love Olivier Dunry's books about the geese, the goslings. And this is about Jasper and Jupe, who are very good friends, even though one is very tidy and one is very messy. One likes to do the tidy things, make his bed, have his feathers neat. The other one likes to be messy and jump in the mud and whatever. So, but they can still have fun together. You see by the end of the book that they still do things together that are fun and maybe a little bit messy. So that one's kind of a fun thing to do. This next one, right here. I'm going to show you.
Okay.
Otter and Otter. I read it and it was like, this is so funny and so timely. It's about a love story between an otter and a fish.
Oh, okay.
And usually...
Very, very childlike drawings.
Yes, if you want to open that up and take a look.
Okay.
It is very childlike drawings. This is by James Howe, did the story.
Mm-hmm.
But as you can see, it's Chris Roshka that did the drawings, and these are very typical of his. Very sketchy, very, very minimalistic, shall we say?
Yeah, very much like.
But
you
the
know,
story,
draw your own
the
story.
story is about acceptance, tolerance, and who we love, following your heart.
Okay.
Because an otter falls in love with a fish, and a fish is usually an otter's food source.
Yeah.
And so his other otter friends are like, it's a fish. You're not supposed to fall in love with a fish. You're supposed to eat it. And the fish is like, no, you're going to eat me. I can't be around you. There could be the temptation. And how sad they are when they're apart, and how they feel so much better when they're together, and how interspecies love stories, I guess, can happen.
Well, and here we have the beaver teaching him to eat an apple instead of a fish.
Yeah.
And the beaver is telling him, tastier I find than fish. Have you ever eaten fish? No, but I suppose I might if I ever fell in love with an apple. Somehow I'm sensing some of the theme with the vampire romances here.
Yeah.
Becoming a vegetarian. Well, that's good to know.
The other book, I don't have it with me. I just wanted to point it out. Lemony Snicket has been branching out from his series of unfortunate events.
Oh, all right.
And he has been doing a few picture books. They're very strange, as you might suppose. And the one that I want to talk about is The Dark. And it is about a boy who has to come to terms with his fear of the dark.
Okay.
And what's really fun about this one is the dark lives in the basement, except during the day, and at night he comes out of the basement and spreads to the entire house, right? Yeah. So the little boy has a little nightlight so that he doesn't have to be afraid. And one night, the nightlight burns out.
Oh, no.
It's all dark. And the dark speaks to him and says, come to the basement. And the little boy goes, no. So finally, he eventually does go down to the basement, and the dark says, go over to the dresser. And so, open up that drawer. And inside are all the bulbs for the nightlight.
Oh, okay.
And so he gets the nightlight bulb and takes it up, and he's able to have his nightlight. So, proving that the dark isn't all bad.
Yeah, that is strange, but an interesting story.
Yeah, it's very Lemony Snicket.
Yes, well, my puppy ate my nightlight, so I'm currently down one nightlight, and I'm not sure if the dark's going to give me a new one, but we'll try that.
Okay. This one that I pulled up here, Cargo's Far, is the start of a couple of books that I wanted to talk about that are easy readers.
Okay.
This one's kind of fun. It kind of reminds me of the Cars movie for some reason.
Yeah,
Red.
there's something about the look to it.
But it's very simple. There's like maybe 1, 2, 3 words on each page, and some of them are repeated. And I think the most of the phrase is Car goes far. So it's basically about Car and his journey and how he gets dirty on his journey, and at the end he has to get cleaned up in the car wash. So it's a very simple story, told simply, but with a lot of fun, a lot of bright pictures to keep you going. It isn't hard, everything is a very small word, nothing very big. So I think it's very non-intimidating, and yet it's appealing to kids.
Is this something they can start reading like in kindergarten even?
Even I think pre-K
even pre-K they could start?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you tell parents when they come to you and say, my child's just starting to read, I need some easy readers, or what do we do here?
I usually take them over the easy reader and show them a few books that I think are appropriate for very, very big beginners. I kind of ask them where they are in their easy readingness, shall we say?
Like this is the first book I'm checking out, which we all have that day, the first time you check out an easy reader. It's very exciting.
Right.
But and we do have a good selection of that.
At all our branches too.
Right. And if any parent or grandparent, whoever's having trouble finding what they want to find, our staff knows right where it is and can help you. And
I'll just say that all of them have a giant E on them. If you're trying to struggle yourself, they all have giant E's on their spines. So
so you can find it. Look for the E.
Right.
Yeah. And how are our books divided up? We have What other labels do we have? We have E for Easy Reader. We
right. We have our holiday books, and those are divided up by general holidays, and we have Christmas and Easter and Halloween, and all the I think we have some of the Jewish holidays. So we have a lot of different stickers there. We have our picture books, which are mostly in bins.
Okay, and that's been nice because that's one of the things when we remodeled was we used to have acres of shelves with little tiny books that you couldn't tell what they were, and now everything's in a bin. Anybody who still has not been to the library, everything's in a bin like this. So as you're looking for a book, you're looking at the front cover and you're flipping through so that you can see what they are. Right. And I assume the Easy Readers are in bins as well.
No, Easy Readers actually are on shelves.
Easy Readers are on a shelf. Okay, we do still have some shelves.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Didn't have enough bins.
Okay.
So we do have that. We have the board books. Depending on the place, they could be on a shelf. They could be in a bin.
Okay.
Different places have them different ways. Let's see, board books, Easy Readers, holiday books. We also have our parenting collection we call Kid Concerns. Has a lot of things like divorce and moving and sex education and potty training, different things like that might be some kind of a social issue or an issue that a parent might want to deal with.
And those are in the children's areas at each branch.
Right.
Which makes it easy for the adult because you can get your little one started reading something.
And if a kid has a concern that they want to deal with themselves, it's there too.
It's there for them as well. But it's a good way for parents to be able to look at the parenting materials and keep their little one busy while they're doing that. But we also have J is for what? Juvenile?
Right, J, and we also have our YA collection for our young adults.
Young adults.
And we, in some places, I don't think every place has it, but we do have some foreign language collections for kids too.
Okay.
Plus our biographies.
Yeah, okay.
Don't forget those.
Yeah, don't forget the biographies. Those are always important as we're trying to give kids some guideposts on as they grow up and things we want them to understand and people. So biographies are a great source for that. And
a really popular collection, and I think we have one at every place now, is our graphic novels.
Yes.
The kids love those.
Yeah.
Cannot keep
really
those in.
Love the graphic novels, and so many movies and everything are made from the graphic novels. So.
Right, and one thing about graphic novels that they've discovered this, people used to look down on them for a long time, not a real book. But what they finally decided was as long as a kid is reading, that's good.
It's okay.
And if that's what they like to read, more power to them.
And I know that there's often been a concern with getting our young gentlemen to read, young boys.
Right.
Boys are not as inclined to want to read, and I'm never sure if that's because of there's a social stigma attached, or they're just too busy doing other things that they don't want to sit quietly and read. Or do you have any theories about that as a librarian?
I don't know. Maybe their brains are
wired a little differently at that point.
Yeah.
But graphic novels do appeal particularly to that,
right.
Junior high age and high school age when you really can't get them to read anything. Right. And I often will come upon, a small group of young men even sitting on the floor next to the graphic novels, reading graphic novels, and I just love that.
Yeah, it's great.
I've actually asked if I could take their picture because it was so unusual.
I was going to point out, there was another Easy Reader right here.
Oh, okay.
This is a new series called Hippo and Rabbit, kind of in the tradition of Elephant and Piggy, for those of you who are into that one, Mo Willems. This is kind of the same kind of thing, two friends having different adventures, being kind of silly. So that's kind of a nice one. This one is a little bit harder. Okay. Let me show the pictures here a little bit more. It's more of a graphic novel kind of feel to it. So it's a little bit harder to read, but the words are not that much harder. Okay. So, but kids really love this stuff.
Yeah. Like their fun adventures.
Yeah, so that's a nice one.
So there's actually, I can see on the back of this book, there actually is a guide already for parents to refer to where it's got first reader, pre-first grade, ABCs and first words, and level 1 beginning reader, sight words, words to send out, simple sentences, 2, new vocabulary, longer sentences, and 3, reading for inspiration and information. So it actually will tell you where these
A lot
books
of the
are.
readers are doing that. That's a really nice thing with the publishers. They've been doing a lot of leveling.
Yeah, they kind of do the analysis for you. And so if you have a child who's in first grade but they're reading an advanced level, you might want to get a book that's up on the 2 or 3 level instead. And the same thing, if you have a child who's a little challenged, you might want to go down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to switch a little bit, and we're going to go with the older kids?
Yes. Let's see what the older kids are up to.
I wanted to point out a couple of, a few of the series books that we've got new ones of.
Oh, all right.
Now, probably everyone knows about 39 Steps. And
I don't, but it looks fun.
39 Steps was a series that was written by different authors, different well-known authors.
Okay.
And that ended, and it was so popular that they carried it on. So now we have 39 Steps Cahill versus Vespers, which were the characters in the first ones.
Okay.
And so this is Day of Doom. It's book 6 of this series. And so those who are following it will probably be pleased that there's more.
And how often do these come out? I can remember how we used to just wait for the next one in the series.
They usually come out pretty fast. I'm going to say 2 or 3 times a year. So.
Oh, good. So not so long that the kids are going to outgrow them.
And I think it's because they have different authors that they can do that so quickly.
Yeah.
This other one is the second in the Golden Door series. Now, Emily Rada is, she's written a lot of different series. Okay. Some may remember her Rowan series and her Dragons of Del Toro. This one happens to be taking place in Del Toro, the Del Toro world. Okay. And so you can see there's also dragons in it. But so she's kind of continued to have some of the same characters. Okay. So,
you know what?
Yes.
We're out of time for this week, and we're going to just keep going, and people can tune in next week, and we'll get back. We'll start up again with Emily Rhoda. But thanks, and I'll see you again in a few minutes, and we'll see everybody else back here in Information Please next week, and Nina will continue telling us about the best in new literature for young people and the resources we have for parents and for teachers as they help our young people advance in reading and their education and life skills. And in the meantime, you can be looking at our catalog. We have all sorts of resources to help you find these kinds of books. And don't forget our calendar, because there's events every single day for almost all ages. So we'll see you next week on Information Please.